All aboard! Everybody hear me?
Yeah!
My name's Butch. I'll be your engineer for about the next 45 or 50 minutes on our tour around the north end of the Okefenokee swamp. Please keep your feet inside the train. We're kind of close on clearance. Don't want to lose any feet or arms. Welcome to the Okefenokee Swamp Park and to the Lady Swanee, our official train. She's a 36-inch steam locomotive replica. As we go along, I'll try to point out some things that we pass. And we're on our way. We'll stop at the island. You look at Pioneer Island and old-time pioneer living. These two trees coming up on your left are cypress trees. They happen to be bald cypress. Don't see many bald cypress up here. We planted these. Mostly pond cypress. You'll notice these have leaves that look like they're in a fan shape. The pond cypress has needles like pine needles that are round, where those are flat fan-shaped ones. The pond cypress likes it better up here because it likes faster moving, very acidic water. The farther south you get in the swamp, the pond cypress will disappear and the bald cypress will become predominant. On your left over here we have our boardwalk. It goes out to our gazebo and out to our 90-foot observation tower via our low water boardwalk. You have to be a little careful if you try walking out there. There's a lady gator out there. Her name's Erin. She thinks that's her private sunning place, so be on the lookout if you walk. Coming up on your left over here at the base of this pine tree is an alligator nest. And we had babies in there. It looks just like a pile of brush, but that's actually a gator nest. Sally had babies in there last year, I think either 27 or 28. It's kind of hard to count that many when they're running all around. And she doesn't want you very close to them. The mother alligator have a clutch about a dozen to 60 eggs at a time, and the temperature of the nest determines the sex of the babies. The hotter the nest gets, the more predominant males will be. There are all kinds of different numbers. There's a little baby on the log there right beside you as we go by. There's a little gator sitting on the log sunning. If you look in there, that's probably one of her babies from last year. The mother alligator will not take care of the babies after they're born. They're on their own to catch food and basically take care of themselves. She will protect them from predators, but that's it. And then if they're not completely gone, after 2 years, they're on the menu. She will eat them. Alligators are about like us. They like temperatures like today, just like we do. 75 degrees is about perfect for them. Gets below about 55 or so, they go into their little burrows, their nest underground. When it warms up, they come out. They are cold-blooded. They do not hibernate. They do what's called estivating. So there's a raised place in their nest, and if they feel the air in there warmer than the water, they'll come out to warm up. We're passing over an original Seminole waterway. If you've been on our boat, this is the trail the boat comes down. That waterway will take you all the way out and down the Swanee River to the Gulf of Mexico, or down the St. Mary's River to the Atlantic Ocean, depending on which way you go once you get out into the swamp proper. You see those bright green leaves that we're passing right now on the left side, those trees? They're real pretty bright green, and that's called soap bush. Or the old swampers call it poor man's soap. When those leaves are full, they're just coming out now, but when they're full-grown leaves, you can strip them off and get a little water in your hand and rub those leaves together, and it'll lather just like soap. Very efficient at cleaning. It'll actually take the smell of fish off your hands if you've been fishing. So, very good. Up on your left here, we're coming up on a log cart. This was an actual working log cart. It was used by the Herbert Cypress Company in the late 1800s. Herbert Cypress Company bought the rights to the wood in the swamp, and they took out millions of board feet of cypress while they were here. In their heyday, they had about 1,000 men hired, and those men worked for $1 a day, and that day was from daylight until dark. For that $1, they went out in the swamp, cut wood, fought off the alligators and the venomous snakes, the bobcats, the bears, all the other harmful critters, plus worked hard with hand saws cutting down cypress trees, hooked it to that log cart and pulled it to a rail station where it could be taken out of the swamp and to the mills for processing. Pretty tough life, but they were making money. This single tree we're passing right here, there's a couple of them right here, coming up on your left, that's called wax myrtle. Now the wax myrtle tree is very useful for the swampers. They take the leaves and boil them, and the wax is on the bottom of the leaves. And when they boil it, that wax, of course, would float to the top. So they'd take that wax off, skim it off, and use it for candles, the ladies for lipstick, anything you needed wax for tops of jars for canning. That's where they got their wax. And the liquid that was left was a great insect repellent. They used it to repel mosquitoes and all that. Very useful plant for the swampers.
Swamper. Leroy my swamp.
You having fun, Matthew?
Yes.
If you're all coming up on your left here, if you look over to the left, back there about a little ways away, you'll see a little plant that looks like a miniature pine tree or something, kind of a frilly looking thing. That plant is called St. John's wort. St. John's wort can be bought in the stores under that name, any drugstore or Walmart. And St. John's wort is used to treat dementia. This is a lot of St. John's wort here starting to bloom. It has that little yellow flower on it. Very pretty when it blooms. In the swamp, if you know what you're looking for, you can find anything you need. There's plenty of food, there's medicines, there's water, there's wood for fire, we got American black bear, we got deer, all kinds of critters around to eat, wild hog, a turkey, all kinds of animals. As you look off into the swamp out there, you see a bunch of dead trees. Those trees were burnt in the 2007 fire that was here. It's called the Big Turnaround Fire. They've been dead for a while, and now they're starting to fall. You'll notice a bunch of dead ones falling, and they'll continue to fall. It did not happen in 2011. The fire didn't get this close. But 2007 is when all these got burnt. You'll notice a lot of pine trees up here. We'll talk some more about the pines a little later, but this far north in the swamp there's a lot of pine. And of course some cypress. We come up passing more wax myrtle on the right and the left as we go along.
I can sell some to Jacksonville Zoo. I get retired.
When you're around the park and you see the alligators just laying on the bank, they look like they're props that we staged there, but that's not the truth. They're out gathering sun, trying to get warmed up. They're cold-blooded creatures, and they need to be warmed up. Those bumps on their back, those ridges, are called osteoderms, and they act as radiators for them.